Franz Kafka was born in the city of Prague, which was then part of Austria-Hungary, on July 3, 1883. Kafka was the oldest of 6 children in a middle-class Jewish family. His father, Hermann Kafka, was a successful businessman and his mother, Julie Kafka, was a housewife. Kafka received a traditional education and was fluent in German, Czech, and Hebrew. He studied law at Charles University in Prague and received his doctorate in 1906. After completing his studies, Kafka worked as a legal clerk and later as a claims adjuster for an insurance company. Despite his professional success, Kafka's true passion was writing. Franz Kafka was a prolific writer who wrote throughout his life, but only a small portion of his work was published during his lifetime. Kafka is best known for his novels, The Metamorphosis, The Trial, and The Castle, as well as numerous short stories and other works of fiction. Despite his talent as a writer, Kafka struggled to get his work published during his lifetime. Much of his writing was not published until after his death, and it was only after his death that his literary genius was fully appreciated. Kafka's friend and literary executor, Max Brod, played a crucial role in ensuring that Kafka's work was published and widely read after his death. The Trial was published in 1925 and The Castle was published in 1926. Kafka struggled with anxiety and depression. His writing often reflects these struggles, and his work is characterized by its melancholic tone. Kafka's father was a successful businessman who was known for his strict and demanding nature. Kafka struggled to live up to his father's expectations and often felt inadequate in his presence. This tension is reflected in Kafka's writing, particularly in The Metamorphosis, which is often seen as a metaphor for the individual's struggle against the constraints of society. Kafka was diagnosed with tuberculosis in 1917 and spent much of the last years of his life in and out of sanatoriums. Despite his efforts to manage his illness, Kafka's health continued to decline and he died of tuberculosis at the age of 40 on June 3, 1924 in Kürling, Austria. Kafka's writing often reflects the cultural and political climate of Prague during his lifetime. He wrote in German, which was the dominant language of the city's intellectuals. Kafka's life and work were heavily influenced by his Jewish heritage and the political climate of Austria-Hungary. He often explored themes of identity and belonging in his writing. Kafka was born and raised during a time of political turmoil and upheaval, and his writing often reflects the social and political issues of his time, including the rise of totalitarianism and the aftermath of World War I. Kafka's relationship with Felice Bauer, his fiancée, was a significant source of inspiration for his writing. Kafka and Bauer were engaged for several years, but their relationship was tumultuous and ultimately ended in 1917. Kafka's correspondence with Bauer, which includes numerous letters and postcards, provides insight into their relationship. Kafka frequently expressed doubts about his ability to marry Bauer and his suitability as a husband. Another close and significant relationship of Kafka was with Milena Jasenska, a Czech translator and writer. "You are the knife I turn inside myself, that is love. That, my dear, is love." This is what Kafka wrote to Jasenska. In 1919, Milena discovered a short story, The Stoker, by Kafka and wrote to him to ask for permission to translate it from German to Czech. The letter launched an intense and increasingly passionate correspondence. Their relationship quickly deepened, with Kafka expressing admiration for Jasenska's intelligence and wit. Kafka and Jasenska's relationship was marked by a deep emotional and intellectual connection, and they corresponded regularly throughout their relationship. Kafka often wrote long and intimate letters to Jasenska, in which he shared his thoughts and feelings about his work and his personal struggles. Jasenska, in turn, was a supportive and understanding correspondent, and she frequently offered Kafka encouragement and advice. Letters to Milena is a book collecting some of Franz Kafka's letters to Milena Jasenska. Franz Kafka's writing often deals with themes of isolation, bureaucracy, and the search for meaning in a seemingly meaningless world. The theme of isolation is prominent in Kafka's work, as his characters often feel disconnected and alone in a world that seems arbitrary and oppressive. Bureaucracy is another recurring theme in Kafka's work, as his characters often struggle to navigate the complex systems that govern their lives. The Metamorphosis is perhaps Franz Kafka's most famous work and is often seen as a metaphor for the human experience. The novel tells the story of Gregor Samsa, a young man who is transformed into a giant insect. Kafka's use of absurdity and surrealism in the novel is thought to reflect Kafka's own personal experiences and struggles. The Metamorphosis is widely considered a masterpiece of literature. It has been translated into numerous languages and has been adapted into films, plays, and other works of art. The Trial and the Castle are also well-known works by Franz Kafka. The Trial tells the story of Joseph K., a man who is arrested and put on trial for an unknown crime. The Castle tells the story of a young man, known only as K., a land surveyor who is sent to a remote village to survey land for a castle. Kafka's work has had a lasting impact on literature, and his influence can be seen in the work of many writers and artists. There are several museums and exhibitions dedicated to Kafka's life and work in Prague, including the Franz Kafka Museum, which is located in the center of the city. Kafka's work is considered an important part of Prague's cultural history. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel.